everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video we are looking at the third sorting algorithm, which is known as insertion sort. So in this video we'll look at why we are doing insertion sort, what are the benefits of insertion sort, the number of comparisons it makes, like the complexity, space complexity and everything. But we already discussed about space complexity for all the algorithms, the 6 algorithms that we will be doing initially. That is constant. Why is it so, and whatever. That is already covered in bubble sort. So make sure you check out the link in the description. There's an entire playlist for a complete data structures and algorithms bootcamp. Let's get started with insertion sort. Let's see why we are calling it insertion sort, and what is like the idea behind it, and what is the intuition behind it. So we already covered like bubble sort and selection sort. We already saw what we were doing over there. So in bubble sort we saw the intuition was that with every single pass, the biggest element was going at the last. After first pass, the largest element will go at the last index. After the second part, the second largest element will go at the second large index. After the third pass, the third large element will go in the third last index. This was bubble sort. Same thing was happening with selection sort. First largest element will go at the last index. Second largest will go at the second last index. But with selection sort, what we were doing is we were actually searching for that element and then putting it over there. Insertion sort is something different. Insertion sort basically means that we are sorting the array like partially. Okay, we are partially sorting the array. So for example, if I have something like if I have something like, let's say 5, 3, 4, 1 and 2, I want to sort this. These are the indices values. So insertion sort basically says that try sorting it in like parts and parts. First sort the initial part of the array. First sort the index number 0. Then sort till index number 2. Then sort till index number 3. Then sort till index number 4. So for example, it's going to say first sort till index number 1. Then sort till index number 2. Then sort till index number 3. Then sort till index number 4. That is the idea. Okay, I hope you're able to understand what we are doing. How we are doing, we'll just cover in a bit. So for example, it's saying, let's say I have sorted till this index. Okay, this will become something like 3, 4, 5, and then this will become 1, 2. Now I'm going to start with this index. So the idea is put this index in the correct position of its left hand side. So basically I'm inserting this element in the correct position of its left hand side. Maybe that's the reason it's called insertion sort or whatever. Not sure, but this is the idea. That is exactly what is happening. For every index that you are at, put that index element at the correct index of left hand side. Okay, so for example, another intuition, the thing that should come to your mind, what we are doing over here. The idea is, what is the intuition in the behind the to understand this thing? Idea is that after first pass, after first pass, that is I is equal to 0. So after I is equal to 0, this will be sorted. This will be sorted. After second pass, this basically means what? I is equal to 1. It means that this will be sorted. First this is sorted, now this will be sorted. 4, 1, 2. This thing will be sorted. So it will become 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 sorted. Okay, so after every pass, you can see the array is getting sorted. That is exactly what we are doing over here. After every pass, the array will get sorted. And after the next pass, this will be getting sorted. After the next pass, this will be getting sorted. Okay, that is for every single pass. Like in bubble sort also, we were doing every pass. What was happening in bubble sort? With every pass, biggest item was coming at the respective index. Here with every pass, the left hand side of the array is getting sorted. First this will be sorted. After the next part, this will be sorted. After the next part, this will be sorted. After the next part, this will be sorted. Let's see how it is working internally. So I have 5 3 4 1 2. Let's see the entire algorithm, how it's working. Okay, let's see how this is working. So basically the idea is that when I is equal to 0, I'm going to start j from I plus 1. So from 1. So here my j is going to start. This is the 0th pass, means the first pass. I is equal to 0 means the first pass. First pass. And what is our objective in the pass number 1? Sort this. What is our objective in pass number 2? Sort this. What is our objective in pass number 3? Pass number 3 means what? I is equal to 2. Sort this. What is our objective in pass number 4? Sort this. And pass number 4 basically means what? Pass number 4 basically means I is equal to 3. So if I write this as pass number 1, pass number 2, pass number 3, pass number 4. Okay, this basically means sort array till index 1, sort array till index 2. So very simple. Pass 1 means sort array till index number 1. When I is equal to 0, loop has run, this will be sorted till index number 1. When I is equal to 1, loop has run, it will be sorted till index number 2. When I is equal to 3, loop has run, it will be sorted, so 2 loop has run, it will be sorted till index number 3. When I is equal to 3, loop has run, it will be sorted till index number 4. Do we need I is equal to 4? We don't need I is equal to 4 over here. Are you all able to understand? So till 3 only we need. 3 basically means pass number 4 means the entire array will be sorted. So I will be running from where to where? I will run from 0 till where? N minus 2, where n is the length of the array. Why? We will cover this why. No worries. It's very simple. So in order to understand why this is running till where it's running and how j will work, let's see. 5 3 4 1 2. I hope you are able to understand. This is to make you understand what every I is doing. To understand what every I is doing. Okay, this is the outer loop. Outer loop. Just gonna add insertion sort here. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, so it's like 5 3 4 1 2. Let's see the working of it. Okay, initially I will say I is equal to 0, j will be equal to I plus 1, which is 1. So my j is going to lie somewhere over here. For I is equal to 0, j will lie somewhere over here. It will keep checking. J at all the time will keep checking on its left. It's going to check, hey, is 3 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. Swap. This will become 3, 5, 4, 1, 2. Now j will come over here and that would be it. Can you really check 0 with anything previous? No. So at all the time, j has to be greater than 0. Okay, and I has to be less than equal to n minus 2. Why? I will tell you right now. Then in the next case, what will happen? I will be plus 1, j will be 1 plus 1, 2. So j is going to start over here now. J is going to start from index number 2, which is this. J will start from here. Let me change the color. J will start from here. Nothing major over here. I is equal to 1 means what? Sort the array till index number 2. Till here you have to sort the array. As you can see, I is equal to 0 means sort the array till index number 1. Isn't it true? It is sorted till index number 1. After this loop is run, after the j loop has run for I is equal to 1, it will be sorted till index number 2. Let's see. So basically, it's going to say, hey, is 4 greater than 4 less than 5? It's going to be like, yes, it is. Swap it. So it will become 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. J will then come over here. It's going to be like, hey, is 4 smaller than 3? No, it's not. Break the loop. Very important point. When element j is not smaller than element j minus 1, break the loop. Do you know why we are breaking the loop? So basically I'm saying if at any point of time you are saying that j is actually not smaller than the previous element, then you don't have to check all the other elements at the left. Can anyone tell why? Pause this video. Okay. Reason is because this is sorted. Reason? Because this left hand side array is already sorted. Okay, for example, if you have something like this, if you have something like, example of a case can be, if you have something like this, if you have something like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, let's say your j is over here, you're checking, hey, is j smaller than 5? You're going to be like, no, it's not. Then does it really make sense to move j over here and check whether 5 is smaller than 4, then j over here whether 4 is smaller than 3, then j over here whether 3 is smaller than 2? No. I know that if I'm checking for j is equal to this, that if this is smaller than this, I always know that whenever j starts new, this is already sorted. Already sorted. Hence, if this j is not, if this j is not smaller or bigger than, if this j is not smaller than this, it will not be smaller than this, it will not be smaller than this, it will not be smaller than this. Even if not checking adjacent element, if you're checking something like this, is this j6 smaller than 5? It's going to be like, no, it's not. Then do you need to check whether 6 is smaller than 4? Do you need to check whether 6 is smaller than 3? Do you need to check whether 6 is smaller than 2? No. So whenever such condition is hit, when j is not smaller than its previous element, break the loop. Break the loop. I hope you're able to understand this thing now. Okay. And one more thing I want to share is that now after this, what will happen? 3, 4 and 5. So with index number 1 till index number 2, it should be sorted. That is true. Till index number 2, it's sorted. Till index number 1, it's sorted. If I put I is equal to 2 now, and j is equal to going to be 2 plus 1, 3. So now j is going to be over where? It's going to be like 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. J is going to start from index number 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 3. It's going to be like, is 1 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. Swap. So it's going to be like 3, 4, 1, 5, 2. J will come over here. J will now come over here. Index number 3. But j will over here. Is 1 smaller than 4? Yes, it is. Swap. This will become 3, 1, 4, 5, 2. J will come over here. Is j 1 smaller than 3? Again. Is 1 smaller than 4? Then again, is 1 smaller than 3? Yes, it is. Swap. 1, 3, 4, 5, 2. J will come over here. What is the condition for j? J has to be greater than 0. Hence, it will break. For I is equal to 2, can you see that till index number 3, it's sorted? Till index 3, it's sorted. Okay. Now, I will be equal to what? I will be equal to what? It was 2 previously, now it will be 3. And j is going to be equal to 4. Now notice something. Here you will have, for this thing, you will have something like 1, 3, 4, 5, 2. And j will come over where? At index number 4. J is always equal to I plus 1. Imagine I say I is equal to 4, then j is going to be equal to 5. This is out of bound. Index out of bound. Hence, never. Hence, I is less than equal to n minus 2, where n is the length of array. So are you able to understand now why I is only going till this index, which is length minus 2? Because I am taking j plus 1. If I came over here, j plus 1 give index out of bound. That is why the I loop will only run till n minus 2. This is the n minus 2 index, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. N is equal to 5. N minus 2 is equal to 3, and that is correct. I is only running till 3. Okay, so it will be like, is 2 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. So it will become 1, 3, 4, 2, 5. J will come over here. Is 2 smaller than 4? Yes, it is. 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. J will come over here. J is just getting 1 minus 1. Okay, just minus 1. Go to previous elements. Is 2 smaller than 3? Yes, it is. Swap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 2 smaller than 1? No, it's not. Break. Whenever J is not smaller than the previous element, break. That is the answer. Okay. In the next case, I will be equal to 4, but the condition says that I should be less than equal to n minus 2. Hence, it will break over here. Why it will break, you already know. Because if I take I is equal to 4, J will give index out of bound. And already array is sorted till I minus 2 only, because I'm taking J plus 1. Okay. So that is basically how this thing works. Alright, let's talk about the complexity analysis. So complexity, in the worst case, it's giving O of n squared. N is the number of elements. Why? In the worst case can be like descending sorted. Okay, so descending sorted means something like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This will take how many comparisons? This will take 1 comparison, then it will take 2 comparison, 3 comparison, then it will take 1 comparison. This will take 2 comparison, this will take 3 comparison, this will take, so when I have 1 over here, so I can say 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 comparison, 2, 3, 4, 1, 5, 2 comparison, 3 comparison, 4 comparison. Will take 4 comparison. Okay, so it's taking 1 comparison, 2 comparison. In the end, it's taking how much comparisons? N minus 1 comparison. So sum is actually 1 till n minus 1. What is the sum till 1 till n minus 1? Sum of n numbers is what? N into n plus 1 by 2. Here n is actually equal to n minus 1. So n into n plus 1 divided by 2. This is equal to n into n minus 1 divided by 2. This is the total number of comparisons. Total number of comparisons. And this is actually equal to big O of n square minus n divided by 2 equal to big O of n square. If you already know time complexity, you know how we get n squared. If you don't know, come watch the time complexity lecture. We will cover this in detail, don't worry. Complexity lecture. For bubble sort, insertion sort, selection sort, and all the other sorting algorithms that we'll be doing, we will cover this in detail. Again, we will cover it in detail, like we will do a revision back. And we will cover in detail why this is O of n square or whatever. For now, if you don't know about time complexity, just think of it as the total number of comparisons. Okay, cool. So what is the best complexity? This is where it shines. This is what is special about this algorithm. Let's talk about the best case complexity. Best case is when array is already sorted. Let's see the total number of comparisons it will make if the array is already sorted. Let's say I have something like this. J will be over here. It will be like, hey, is 2 greater than 1? No, it's not. Break. Then J will come over here. Is 2 smaller than 1? Then J will come over here. Is 3 smaller than 2? No, it's not. Break. Is 4 smaller than 3? No, it's not. Break. Is 5 smaller than 4? No, it's not. Break. How many comparisons did it make? N minus 1. Linear. Complexity is O of n. Again, same thing. Same thing applies over here also. We will cover it in like what is linear complexity, what is big O notation or whatever. For now, you can say it will at max make total number of comparisons. So in order to give you a bit of understanding, you already know what time complexity is. We covered it in binary search, but let's say you have an array of size 1000. So in the best case, let's say it's already sorted, at max it will make 999 comparisons. In the worst case, it will make something around, 1000 into 999 divided by 2 comparisons. So as you can see, as the size is increasing, comparisons is also increasing. But don't worry about it. Right now, just focus on what is the number of comparisons. What actually means by big O notation, how the, we already discussed this in binary search. So if you want to get a brief hint about this, watch the binary search lecture. Why am I telling this again and again? So we already did discuss it, like a graph and everything. We discussed it in binary search, but we will cover it in detail in the space and time complexity lecture. If you're watching this after a few months, we have already, covered it. So the link is in the description for the entire playlist. Make sure you check it out. Okay, so now why do we use it? Why use it, right? That's a good point. Why use insertion sort? So the first point is that it's adaptive, means steps get reduced, as we all saw. If array is sorted, we all saw that. So if j is not smaller than j minus 1, break the loop, steps are reduced. Okay, so number of swaps are reduced as compared to bubble sort. Okay, number of swaps reduced as compared to bubble sort. Okay, another advantage include that it's stable. We already covered what is stable in bubble sort algorithm. So if you want to learn about what are stable sorting algorithms, what is stable sorting, check out the bubble sort video. Everything we have covered. Okay, and it's basically like it's used for smaller values of n. Used for smaller values of n. Works good when array is partially sorted. Means parts of the array, let's say, are sorted. Some parts of the array are sorted, and the array is not sorted completely. Partially sorted. This is why, this is the reason it takes part in hybrid sorting algorithms. All the algorithms we have done so far, they don't really work well with large data. For large data, we'll be learning about more algorithms that are actually used at a lot of places, like merge sort, quick sort, and all these other things. So hybrid sorting algorithm basically means that it takes like merge sort or quick sort and combines some parts with the insertion sort. Okay, because insertion sort works really well on small data. We will cover this in detail when we do merge sort. Okay, when we do merge sort, that way we'll be able to understand how array is getting divided. But for that we need recursion. That is why we will do merge sort and quick sort and heap sort and whatever after recursion. We'll cover that in detail. Don't worry. So for now, you can see that it takes part in the hybrid sorting algorithms. So if you have a sort method, right, in the inbuilt languages, very high possibility that it's using insertion sort at some places. Okay. With merging of with collaboration with like some other sorting algorithm like merge sort or quick sort, might be using insertion sort as well. These are known as hybrid sorting algorithms. Okay, like in JavaScript or Java, like they have internal sort methods. You definitely can check it out that it uses something like insertion sort or sort of like algorithm internally. So I think that was about it, and we covered everything, why to use it and complexity and number of steps and whatever. Now let's look at the code sample. Okay, so let me just create another function over here. I'm just going to say that this is equal to static void insertion sort. Just going to add an array over here in the parameter. That is it. And now I'm just going to run the outside loop. I can say over here, nothing new over here. I'm just copying this only. Okay, I'm just copying this, that I should run less than equal to n minus 2. Okay, no problem. For I is equal to 0, I is less than nums, or not nums, array dot length minus 1. So I'm saying less than arrays dot length minus 1, hence it will run till array dot length minus 2. Or I can do something like less than equal to array dot length minus 2. I can do that as well, but this looks more clean. Okay, same thing. J is always going to be greater than 0, and J is always going to be subtracting itself with minus 1, and J is always starting as I plus 1. No problem, no problem. Start J as I plus 1, and J is always greater than 0, and J is always getting subtracted by 1. That is it. That is it. If array of J is actually smaller than the previous element, in that case, what do? We swap array of J and J minus 1. That's it. Otherwise, what do? Otherwise, we break. We know that if, we have already covered this, like over here, when the element J is not smaller than the element J minus 1, break. Does not really make sense to check the entire thing. Like here, is 6 smaller than 5? No, it's not. Does it really make sense to check whether 6 is smaller than 4 or 3 or 2 or whatever? No. Or does it really make sense to check these elements? Is 5 smaller than 4? Is 4 smaller? No, because left hand side will already be sorted. Whatever J you are at, the left hand side of that will already be sorted. And we are just inserting this J at the correct index of the left hand side sorted array. That's why we are saying it's insertion sort. That is pretty much about it. Let's run this. Insertion sort 4 5 1 2 3. Is that what we are taking? We are taking 5 3 4 1 2. Okay, no problem, but this is sorted. 5 3 4 1 2, we can take that as well. 5 3 4 1 2. Let's run this. Should give me 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5, right? Let's write some empty array. Should give empty array. Checking some edge cases, right? Let's say negatives 0, negative 23, 56 and 18. Let's run this. Works well. Let's say we take only 2 elements. Working fine. Let's try to debug it. Let's see how this is working like internally. Debug. So debug, it will first sort for I is equal to 0. Notice something. For I is equal to 0, I said that I is equal to 0 means till index number 1, till index number I plus 1, it will be sorted. So if I is equal to 0, then till index number 1, it will be sorted. Means it will be 3 5 4 1 2. Let's see. It's going to swap this. That's it. 3 5 4 1 2. Now index is I is equal to 1. Means till index number 2, it will be sorted. Let's see. So it's going to be like J is equal to 2, means starting from here. Is 4 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. Then it will swap. Is 4 smaller than 3? No, it's not. It will break. Now till index number, when I was index number 1 means till index number 2, it will be sorted. It will be what? 3 4 5 1 2. 3 4 5 1 2. Correct? Now I is equal to 2, then index number 3. Till index number 3, it will be sorted. It will be 1 3 4 5 2. Is 1 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. Swap. So 1 and 5 got swapped, as you can see over here. 1 came over here, 5 came over here. Is 1 smaller than 4? J was 3. Now J is equal to 3 minus 1, 2. So is 1 smaller than 4? Yes, it is. It will be swapped and J will be 2 minus 1. 1 over here. So it will be 3 1 4 5 2. 3 1 4 5 2. Now J is equal to 1. Is 1 smaller than 3? Like the 1 index. Index number 1 smaller than whatever is index number 0. Yes, it is. It will be 1 3 4 5. 1 3 4 5. Now J is equal to what? J is equal to 0. But J should be greater than 0. Hence this loop will break. This internal loop. There we go. Now I is equal to 3. So now you can see if I was equal to 2, then till index number 3 it's sorted. Yep, that is true. I is equal to 3 means 2. So J is going to be equal to 3 plus 1, 4. J is equal to 4 means index over here is 2 smaller than J minus 1. Is 2 smaller than 5? Yes, it is. It will swap. Is 2 smaller than 4? Yes, it will swap. Is 2 smaller than 3? Yes, it will swap. Is 2 smaller than 1? No, it's not. It will break. That's it. End of program. Array is sorted. That's it. You also saw that the value of I did not go till I is equal to 4 because it is only running till n minus 2. Why? Because it's already covered over here. Otherwise it will give array out of bound for j. Obviously if I is 4, j will be 5, array out of bound. Okay, that was pretty much about it. And make sure you like, share and subscribe and comment. And in the next video we'll see some more sorting algorithms and some interview problems as well. Thanks a lot for watching, and make sure you comment, and make sure you check out the links in the description. We have an entire DSA bootcamp playlist. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.